This video is
All right. Watch this one and then we go to Hollow Knight. This is a video about Pistol Duel really looked like. I saw in a movie. I don't know which movie it was. I think The Deadly Seven or something, like a Western movie. I only saw a little part though. No, not Deadly Seven. The Good, the Bad, and The Good, the Bad, and the Idiot or something. I don't know. The Good, the Bad, and the Dumb or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. It was had like Korean actors and stuff in it, right? And that movie was basically spoilers. All right, spoilers. You may want to skip a minute or so. And they had like these fucking I mean, it's not really a spoil, but they had like these gunfights, right? Like these duels, like the sheriff, like the pistol duels, pew 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 pew, right? And it was, dude, it was fucked up, man. Watching that was kind of fucking hard, man. You know, you'd be like shooting, right? And while shooting, it would get like shot in the arm, in the leg, in the fucking chest, or whatever, in the stomach. And I'd still be shooting, right? But lying on the ground, I'd be shooting and shit like that. And I honestly, I think most of the time, both of them didn't even survive, right? I think that's what it is. Like if you had a duel, like a Western duel, I think both of them wouldn't have lived longer. So.
was brought to you by Thorum. Stick around to the end to learn how you can get 20% off incredible rings made out of everything from meteorite to World War II rifle stocks.
Why? What are you gonna do? You'd be like, hey, look at this, yeah? Look at this ring. You see this ring? It's got history. World War II rifle stock. You wanna know who this one belongs to? Ah. Trust me, you don't wanna. The hand pistol.
Well after the guns had been fired
Suicide
and a
hand
wife
pistol.
was left to widowhood, the trial began, and the defense recounted. It happened in an evil hour in the month of April 1845 that Mr. Seaton made the acquaintance of Mr. and Mrs. Hockey. James Seaton, a rather portly man of independent means, was himself married. And yet amidst the gilded soirees and pageantry of the Victorian age, he found himself taken with Mrs. Isabella Hockey, the wife of Lieutenant Henry Hockey of the Royal Marines. Seaton, having himself retired after an unremarkable stint in the military,
cowboy
possessed
times.
ample time over the course of the coming weeks to visit Mrs. Hockey at her residence while her husband was away on duty. His advances took first the form of courteous and innocuous gestures, escorting the lady on a walk or lending her a peculiar book, until one day he dared to speak the unspoken. "It's no use humbugging with you any longer. Do you mean to give me an opportunity or not?" He would not, he told Mrs. Hockey, risk his life for nothing, for Lieutenant Hockey was liable to learn of Seaton's designs upon his wife. And for centuries, the elites of Europe had mediated disputes over women, insults, and other slights to one's honor by means of the duel. Whereas the medieval age had formalized trial by combat, the Renaissance raised notions of chivalric duty and etiquette. Thus, the early modern gentleman became honor-bound to descend from time to time the steps of his high mansion in order to oblige cruel custom to meet.
I think it's, dude, I've always thought that this is such a fucking retarded way of showing your power, of showing your might. Like, what? Like, let's say you want something, right? And then like, let's duel it up, man. Like, you know, like, brother, if you die, I'll get everything you own, okay? It's not just this fucking shit, right? Like, bro, like, I don't know, it's so stupid, man. Why do you have to show that you're above the other with your fists? Like, motherfucker, what?
Meet shame with steel. The object of the formal duel was not principally to kill,
It's such a
but
primitive way of
to gain
thinking, you know?
so-called satisfaction by displaying
Like the
his
Oonga
willingness
Booga
to die
ways.
for his
Oonga
honor.
Booga days.
Sword duels sometimes concluded after drawing first blood, but England had abandoned the sword for the pistol, and provided a duelist hit his mark, death was common. Even as monarchs outlawed the duel, and the church and thinkers of the Enlightenment derided the custom as egotistical butchery,
looks like a shark.
The practice persisted into the 19th century, punished softly by the courts and preserved with vigor among the ranks of military men. A knock came at the door. Seaton panicked, thinking it was Mr. Hockey. Instead, it was the young Lieutenant Edward Pym, a comrade of Mr. Hockey's. Rumor was likely to reach Lieutenant Hockey, but Seaton was
I
not
heard of Pym
deterred.
before. I don't know where
The
though.
next time he met Isabella, he attempted to give her a ring, proposed that they go away together to London, and renounced his love for his own wife. Isabella would insist that she remained politely aloof to Seaton until the night of May 19th, when another ball was held. Seaton insisted that Isabella share a dance with him. Lieutenant Hockey cordially allowed it, but after their dance, Seaton sat next to her and refused to give up his seat to Lieutenant Hockey, who then demanded, "Sir, I should like to have a few private words with you."
It was like
The two went into a side room, and after some
absolute
argument,
fucking
Seaton emerged
simp.
dubiously claiming that he, as a former cavalryman, could not
As a-
duel a Royal Marine.
simping
So
was
Hockey
in
forced
even
the
in the
matter.
days before,
In full
man.
view of the ballroom, he
Years
attempted to
before.
kick Seaton, called him a scoundrel and a blackguard, and promised to horsewhip Seaton if he refused to fight. The following morning, a man arrived at the Hockey's residence. Participants in a duel would appoint and act through representatives called seconds, and here was Seaton's with a formal challenge. A second was to attempt to reconcile the matter by apology or other means, but this having failed with Hockey, he was then compelled to arrange and oversee the duel. The place and hour were agreed upon, and the man went away. Hockey appointed Pym as his second, who at 21 was considerably young for such a task. Hockey trusted him nevertheless. The two set out and purchased a pair of hair-trigger pistols of fine workmanship. The harbor had assumed a dour and oppressive
These
gray
look pretty
quality in
fucking
the
sick, not gonna
afternoon.
lie.
And through formless fog, the two sailed across it and went on foot to a pebbled and secluded beach, where they met Seaton and his second. A rather sizable distance of 15 paces was agreed upon.
Fuck
The
is that?
seconds explained the rules, and each, in turn, handed a pistol to his duelist.
Like seconds?
The men stood silent. The command to fire rang out. The triggers were pulled. Hockey's gun failed to discharge, and Seaton shot at him and missed. Lieutenant Pym might have mistakenly handed Hockey his gun at half-cock, a safety mechanism. At any rate, both men had proven their courage, and satisfaction should have been gained. And yet, it was said that Hockey demanded another round
Hello,
with his
what
enemy.
up, what up?
Any respectable
Welcome.
second would have rejected the notion as barbaric, but the men were handed their remaining pistols. Again came
Oh,
the
so each
command
got two
to
shots.
fire.
I see.
Seaton missed, and Hockey shot him through the hip. He collapsed, and blood surged from his ruptured artery. Lieutenant Hockey reportedly stood unaffected, said, "I'm off to France," and fled.
Damn.
Whether Hockey and Pym indeed escaped to
Holy.
France or to local hideouts was not known. The writhing Seaton was dragged into a bed at the Quebec Hotel,
He did a
where
fucking
doctors
mic
tended
drop.
to him for days.
Jesus.
The renowned surgeon Robert Liston arrived from London and performed an excruciating surgery on a fully awake Seaton, cutting through his swollen hip and groin to tie off the artery. Nevertheless, the wound festered, and 2 weeks after the duel, Seaton died. Pym was brought to trial for assisting murder. The defense explained to the jury that duels, though widely denounced in contemporary society, answered to an old code of honor by which all were called upon, nay, compelled to measure their actions, unless the individual was prepared to sacrifice all that made his life worth having. The judge reminded all that tired tradition had no bearing on English law, which regarded a fatal duel as premeditated murder. The jury did not leave the box.
Okay.
After a few minutes, they declared Pym not guilty. When Hockey was brought
Not
before the court
guilty.
3 months later, the jury took only seconds to find him not guilty. 6 years later, Isabella engaged in a sordid affair with one Lieutenant Swain. Henry Hockey might then have wondered whether his wife had invited, or at least
Bruh.
unduly entertained, the lecherous advances of the late Mr. Seaton years before. The now Captain Hockey was tormented by reports of his wife's infidelity and remarked, "What is to be done? I have
That's so fucked up. He risked his life in a fucking in a pistol battle, right? He won. He got trialed. He also won that. And then his fucking wife cheats on him. Oh my fucking god.
Party on
man.
this account sent a fellow
Ah, that's
creature before
fucked,
his
man.
god.
That is
And am I to
fucked.
do it again?
Yikes.
The last fatal duel on English soil would take place this same year between French expatriates over an insult about an ex-girlfriend. Dueling had all but vanished from English society. Hockey merely forbade
See, that's what
Swain to
happens when you
continue
make your dick
visiting his
fucking
wife in
decide
his
for you.
absence.
And you follow
While
the
Hockey
dick,
was
man.
walking with Isabella one day, Swain approached, greeted his wife, and made a dismissive comment toward him. Hockey beat him with a cane. Both were arrested and court-martialed, Swain for treating a superior officer with contempt. Both were acquitted. Isabella soon after separated from Henry Hockey. Estranged from his wife and children, he died of tuberculosis in 1859 at the age of 38.
TB.
Isabella remarried to a man 11 years her junior. The defense counsel at the trial of Pym had noted that she was a lady of great personal attractions, one whose beauty was once the theme of every tongue. So coveted were her affections, and so self-righteously bellicose were her suitors, that Seton and Hockey had engaged in a fight, which would stand as the last fatal duel between Englishmen in the country. I recently
Damn.
picked up the Apollo ring from Thorum, and it
Oh
might be the
shit, you got the
coolest
same
thing I
mic.
own. It has this really sleek, ancient look, and it's made out of modern hammered black and rose gold tungsten carbide. I'm interested.
I mean,
in
I'm
the
watching your video, so I
folklore
might
of
as
the
well just watch your
past, and
fucking
Thorum
ad, man.
handcrafts rings that speak to that part of me.
I
Whether you're
enjoy
looking
that.
for a wedding or anniversary band, or just an awesome ring with a cool story behind it, Thorum has it. The World War II ring is gunmetal gray, and the interior is from an M1 Garand that saw active duty in World War II. And the Thor ring has this cool Viking vibe, but it's also partially made out of the 4 billion-year-old Gibeon meteorite. Every ring ships in one business day, arrives in a beautiful box with a silicone activity band, and if it's not your thing, there's a 1-year no questions asked warranty. So whether you need a wedding ring, anniversary ring, or you just want a ring that looks awesome, head over to thorum.com and use promo code HistoryDose to get 20% off
You heard
a
it,
truly
everyone.
unique ring.
History Dose. There you go. 20% off. Well, that's a cool video. Nice. Once he called him a scoundrel, I knew she was gonna get seriously out of hand. Yep, that is exactly what I was thinking. No, for sure, it was. Beep boop. Hey, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. And leave a like, subscribe, comment. I do reply. And maybe I'll see you around. See ya.